Hey, I'm Shantae and it's been a minute, but we're back and we're itching. Today we're back with a bang and we're interviewing hip-hop himself, Joey Coombs, aka Chester P.
Did you ever see a rapper with the devil on his tongue? Even if he never did it, make him tell you what he done. String him up, make him tell you what he's done. String him up, make him tell you what he's done. Now I've got a couple words to say to everybody in the world today. Working in a job that isn't worth the pay, they're crazy overtaxing us. Everything is overpriced. Turn the television on, they're asking me for charity. Man, I could be crazy, but to me I kind of figured that the artifacts and gold that they stole, they ought to give it back. And pay some retribution fees, perhaps get the richest cats to give up 5% of their collect, because they can live with that. Now justice is a needy child. Judges in a sea of files are dishing up a bigger bird for burglars than paedophiles. All I'm going to say about the Middle East is ever since the war there's more heroin available on British streets. They see religion like a multi-million business, sell you chocolate when it's Easter, sell you presents when it's Christmas. But murder is the latest trend for journalists to favour, because to them it ain't a life, it's just a way to sell their paper. And politics is fucked up, man, I've got to put it blunt. I can't believe the kind of cunts we allowed to run this country. Me, I was happy hearing Livingstone had lost his seat. The only thing he ever gave to London was a bus that's free. But Boris Johnson, the guy can hardly speak, he's on the telly making speeches like he's talking in his sleep. I'm from a place where they'll hardly even know we're there. To us it doesn't matter if it's Tony Brown or Gordon Blair, or George Bush, or Osama, or the rest of them. Put down the ketamine and let's arrest the president. HFM.
Welcome, Chester P. Thanks for having us here today.
You're welcome.
Let's kick off straight away. You yourself must know that you're well respected in the UK hip-hop scene. Mm-hmm. You've got a lot of work in, you've got a lot of time in, you've got your crew game with Mud Family, you've got Task Force, you've got Berry Crew? Berry Crew, yeah, sorry. You've got Berry Crew, and you've also got your solo game.
Yeah.
Where or when do you feel like that respect was earned?
I think in the beginning, when I first started really putting in work and getting noticed, it was through freestyle battling. So it must have been about 1992, 93. That's 20 years ago, Jesus. So yeah, I mean about 92, 93 I started getting into the battling, and there was the whole format, a crew called the Bloodhound Gang that set up a little thing in what used to be WKD's in Camden, just at the back of Sainsbury, and they would write down 5 words the crowd suggests, and you'd have to battle incorporating them words and and it was a grueling process to allow people to even allow us to rap back then, because we was the very seldom white faces in the crowd, which is the truth, amazingly then. Do you know what I mean? Now obviously it's quite it's like the other side of that spectrum. It's kind of strange, but at that point in time it was a tricky thing to get through with doing. But as we run around with quite a multicultural group of people, quite a lot of us as well, we weren't really about to be bullied or nothing, so we cracked on. And the respect was earned that way. And then Mud Family put me on the first record I was on in 97, and then Task Force went on to do their first thing in 99. So I suppose that was the beginning foundations of building anything with any kind of solidity. So
you got your feet in, got
yeah, exactly,
and
then you grow from the roots up. Yeah, I mean, you see a lot of people in the world starting at the top and grind down. I started with my feet first. Yeah.
And the crews that we mentioned, are you still involved with any of those? What's your involvement at this stage?
They're all family, I suppose. I mean, Mud Family they're my Mud brothers. Tib, Skinny, Mongo, Grandad, all them people. They're family to me, so they're brothers. I mean, it's deeper than music. What we all went through together. The Berry Crew, there's the same thing applies. We all grew up with each other. We all spent our teenage years together. Most of us met in the school playground, battling. So it's all that's my only involvement with any of them is family, on a family level and a friendship level. It's, after 9 people for that long, you don't really need to see them anymore. You just know that somewhere inside you they're with you. So I ride with my people in my mind, not around me, kind of thing. Obviously Task Force Fat Farms is my actual blood brother, so that is our relationship, and I'm also continuing to work with Task Force and do Task Force work. Yeah.
Okay, so mainly your solo stuff and then Task Force at the same time?
Yeah.
Okay, and in terms of your music style, a lot of your music is quite thought-provoking. You use a lot of wise words. I feel like you give the audience more than just a sound to bop their heads to. Were there any particular life experiences that brought you to bring your music slightly away from what everyone else was doing?
Yeah, just my life experience in itself. Because I mean, for me, that you got eyes and you got fingerprints, and both of them are unique. But then you have personality, and that's something that's unique in itself. And I feel like if people are not themselves individually, and if they're not who they are inside, then there's no point in being anyone. I think Kurt Cobain said it in one of the more beautiful ways I can remember hearing it, is saying I would rather people hated me for who I am than love me for who I pretend to be. And I think that makes a lot of sense to me. So I always tend to just do me, because at the end of the day I don't want to have to walk down the street and get seen by people who associate me with this character Chester P, but then I have to sort of perform to be this person. I am just who I am. I am me at all times, whether you call me Chester or Joey or a wanker, you know what I mean? It don't really make no difference. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be me. For one reason or another, someone's called me one of them three things a number of times in my life, you know? So yeah, I mean, I just do me. I think it's important that people do that. I'm quite comfortable with myself. I don't really have any much issues with myself. The first person to criticise me, the first person's criticism I pay any attention to is my own. No one else's criticism of me has any real relevance on me unless I've already considered it and what they've said's hit a home truth, and then it pays a lot of, you know what I mean, it has a big effect on me. But I tend to do me. Same with my brother. I think we both just tend to do our individual thing, which ranges from talking about butterflies to talking about anything else you might think about. You know what I mean? I'm not afraid to delve into a less masculine side of music, if you like. I'm pretty cool. I do what I feel to do. Everyone, each to their own, definitely.
And just off of the back of what you've just said, as an artist, you're quite an untamed character. Do you think that's removing you from mainstream industry? And if so, is it even something that matters to you?
Yeah, it's interesting. Untamed's the right word. I mean, I try to imagine myself like the dance of a flame. It is tamed in a sense, because you're controlling that flame, but only I can control that flame. On the other hand, it is wild and it does what it does, but it will also burn you. And I think in terms of industry, that a long time ago, I personally made the decision that I don't need to be more famous than I am. I don't need money enough to sell what it is they're trying to ask for me to sell in order to get that fame. So I've learned to accept my discomfort, you see, and by accepting that discomfort, it makes me a whole being, just as whole as I would have been by feeling like material things are going to fill that hole. But I've learned to accept myself, and the industry part of it. It does matter and it doesn't matter to me, because some people merit you on what you get materially out of your art, whereas other people are savvy enough to understand it's what you've given to the world that really counts, you know what I mean? And I mean, the Spice Girls sold a lot of records, a lot of records, and that's a good example.
And that leads quite nicely onto what I was going to say, but I think you've kind of answered it. But in terms of where the music industry is now and the music business, music is a business more so than a love of music, which people used to focus on. So, like I said, I think you've answered it, but you can't see yourself jumping ship just to be that businessman in the music industry.
Not where I'm concerned, you know what I mean? I mean, it depends. It's sort of like saying that the revolution won't be televised, but if you revolutionise the television, then you might be able to see a revolution on the television, if you see what I'm trying to say. If the music industry can change its way with dealing with a person like me, I'm sure there is a lot more money in what I have than I've ever got out of it. It's just because nobody's ever looked at it and said to themselves, there is a way to sell this to more people than it's being sold to, and it's healthier for their minds too. But maybe that's the road we're on, so I don't know, you know what I mean? It's not that I wouldn't, if someone offered me a load of money, I would take the money. To be honest, I shouldn't say it, because it might happen and it won't after me saying this, but if a record company offered me a big lump of money as an advance, I'd take the money and I'd be gone. That's real. I'd be gone. They ain't seeing me or that money again, or the music. I'm gone.
I think you've probably done enough to have that balance of real music and then getting the money in at the same time.
Well, you know, it's a hard thing. I think that for artists to get signed to these big companies who put a lot of money into them, and you see their face on billboards and stuff, that costs a lot of money. I promise you, it costs a lot of money for people. We're aware of that, and you owe the record company money for that. And when your album don't sell as well as you hope it did the first time round, the second time round, they're going to say to you, right, you owe us a lot of money now, we're going to have to take some artistic control of what you're doing. And one of our acts, blah, 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 is just blowing up right now, so we're going to stick you on there with her, and we're going to turn what you do into what they do, and we're going to make you all this big mishmash of celebrity bullshit, and that's going to pay back the debt you owe us. And then you can see it on that little artist's face, like pretending that they're successful because they got chains and cars, and you can see in their eyes that they ain't got a soul no more. And I think to myself, well, you know what, I'm quite happy being who I am, you know what I mean? Because I walk everywhere I go. I can't drive, I have no intention of learning, I can drink. Can't drive, I have no intention of learning how to drive. I walk everywhere I go, and I get nothing but love and respect. And I see people and I meet people, and people give me things and offer me food, and I live my life like that, you know what I mean? Where money fails me, love always has saved me, always.
I could just listen to you talk. Like, you don't even need to rap or do poetry. I could just listen to you talk.
I've started realising that, and people pay me to come and do sets, and I'll just stand up there and go, all right, everyone, tonight we're going to talk. And then they go home and they think, this guy is different. But, you know, everyone's got to eat sandwiches, isn't they?
So what's your thoughts on the music industry as far as the States and the UK is concerned? What are the differences? Because obviously the US is definitely popping, it's showing a lot. The media's got a lot to do with what we think and feel about US music. How does that differ, and why haven't we got that same publicity in the UK?
I think for British rappers especially, it's easy for them to stand around and go, man, I'm keeping it real, I ain't selling. That's because no one's offering you no money to sell out for. If there was millions of pounds on that table, 90% of them rappers saying no sellout would be selling. Is this what you selling out for? A cheese sandwich, you know what I mean? You can sell Big Issues and get that, mate. It ain't worth selling, there's nothing to sell out for. That's why we keep it real. Because that's keeping it real. We ain't got nothing to sell out for. But the difference between the UK scene and the English scene is they've made a massive business out of it. But you got to remember, it's that it is the American dream come true. Hip hop is that American dream. It was nothing. It started in the Bronx, early 70s, ghetto youth. Imagine hip hop as that little ghetto youth. Boom. Grew up, turned itself into a millionaire, billionaire. Now it is the biggest selling music on the planet. In a space of 30 years, it's done that. That's an amazing story. That is the American dream. It epitomises it. And your 50 Cents and your Jay-Z. I can't hate on people like that. Anyone who has any kind of bad thought towards someone like that is just hating on it. You know what I mean? It's ignorant to just, oh, they've made money, I hate that shit. It's like, great, good, I'm glad he's made money. You got to shine his fucking face 9 times, let him have a few quid. I mean, for me, the money that them guys are making, they could have done something good with it. They could have done something with it. Culture's been taken away, and the business ethic has become the culture. And then what you've got is a group of lost people with no wisdom, with no roots. Like we started this interview saying, people are living from the head down and not starting with the roots up. And that means you're not grounded. That means you're running around with no feet on the ground, but you're thinking. And that means you're just the head of a headless chicken looking for his body. And that's the difference. But there is no difference between British hip-hop and American hip-hop other than the fact that they've got a whole lot more money for doing it than we have. And then it's easy for us to sit around like trying to slag it off or trying to act like we're more righteous or we're more this or we're more... We just ain't had that opportunity. Otherwise you would see exactly what you're seeing there happening here. Business ruins anything real. Anything beautiful, any art, business is going to ruin it. The minute you take business from it, from the soul of art, and you make that its heart, and that's what it palpitates around that body, then that art, it becomes business. And then anyone who loved the art will hear that it's no longer art. And we've seen this happen to hip-hop. Not just once, it's happened, and then it's rekindled itself and done it again. And I remember a time when rappers used to say, keep it real and don't sell out, and it meant something. Now they're just cliched words people laugh at and mock, like, oh, what a stupid thing. It's hardly even, how do you even define keeping it real and not selling out in current state of hip-hop, which is the biggest pop music in the world. Back then they used to say it, and I feel like those pioneers, I feel like they had a foresight that they knew this was going to happen if we started allowing money
to control the reason why we're making music. Because there was a point to it all once, and that point has gone now. And for me, when that point went, then I left behind what hip-hop turned into and just turned more into me. And whatever hip-hop was with me is now a part of me. And however someone listens to my music and defines it, that's what I am. I don't care what anyone else calls me. I don't know if it's hip-hop. I don't know what it is. I don't listen to hip-hop. I kid you not. I don't listen to it. I don't listen to it at all. I listen to old music. I listen to reggae and folk music, British folk music from the 60s and 70s, Scottish people playing guitars and singing. That's what I listen to every day. I don't do hip-hop. I lost my love for that kind of hip-hop, and I can't. It's like, if you don't like the sea because it's too noisy at night, you can't piss in it and expect it to turn around and swim the other wave the other way. It's gonna come at you. So you can't change the way people are. All you've got a right to do is change the way you react to them. So my reaction to hip-hop, the way I had to change it, the current state of hip-hop, is to not care about it anymore. It's like a woman you love badly. Well, a man in you guys' case maybe not. I mean, but a woman I love badly, who wants to be somewhere else, and I need to let her go. And it hurts me to see her there, but I have to let her be there because I love her enough to let her be there. So I have to leave her there, even though I can see it's bad for her, me, and everyone else involved. You just have to let her be there. That's where I am with hip hop, man. All of that is irrelevant to the question, but it felt nice.
No, but at the same time, it's such a good take, and anyone who's got any questions or queries around the whole industry and where it's moving, where it's come from, I think that was quite a deep, in-depth description of that. But like you said, you don't listen to hip-hop anymore, and we know some of your influences to be punk music, so like the Sex Pistols, the Clash. Are people surprised when you tell them that, or do they hear that in your music, or what's the direct impact?
I don't know. I think over the years, I think people learn the best way to think about me is to expect the unexpected. I don't think they're surprised about anything I do no more. I think they have actually learned that, and in fact, over the years, I've created a good relationship with the people who follow what I do. It's almost like they all know me. I have a lot of family, you know what I mean? And I was thinking about it the other day because I frequently go to funerals, and I was thinking about what my funeral would fucking be like, because there'd be thousands of people, and I'd quite like that actually. It would be chaotic, morbid, but yeah.
Yeah, interesting twist. So your music now, what's happening for you right now? You've got some stuff in the pipeline. Tell us a bit about that, what we're expecting to see, what's coming up.
Well, Music from the Corner 5, the last one is finished and just getting ready to come out. It's been a number of years since me and my brothers worked together. It was nice doing it. It was very good for me and him's relationship as brothers to start working together again. Because, I mean, we lived together all our lives, worked together for the later part of our lives, and at one point it was bound to get a little bit... And, the fucking claws came out. But now we both cut our nails and we got back to not clawing each other, and it was a nice situation. So we got the tour coming. We'll be headlining Outlook Festival, we'll be headlining Boom Bap Festival, we'll be touring the UK. That will be happening, 2 tours in 1 year, I imagine. We'll be releasing it ourselves, and then I'll be doing a solo album. And there's something is bubbling underneath. I'm not quite sure what it is yet. I'm writing stories. I'm writing short stories and long stories. As people know, I like talking. I also like writing, so I'm doing a lot of writing. I'm doing kids' books, I'm doing kids' poems, they're being illustrated. I'm going to do this little Jackanory thing. I mean, I'm a man, I've got my finger in every pie that's vegetarian.
So many talents.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of things happening this year. It's a good year. So I like 2013. The start of this year I felt a weight lift. And it's been a long time coming because the past year or so have been quite horrible for me. And it was nice to stand up and feel a bit lighter without losing any weight.
I love it. So we know you've got a lot of fans. You've already mentioned that your funeral would be massive.
So big.
It's so big. But where can people find out when you have got tour dates set?
I thought he was going to say when I'm dead.
Oh, no. Let's not skip too far ahead.
But, tour dates, no, I've no idea yet. People keep trying to book us and I keep turning them away. It's Farms has just had twins and his eldest boy has had a child, so he's become a granddad. He's very busy. I'm waiting for the harder points of of raising children at that age to pass before I can really start getting tours down. I was hoping about March, and then probably during festival season we'll be back on the road to do
So when that
more.
gets more firmed up, where can people find out about it? Have you got any websites that you're going to be leaving it on?
Facebook. I mean, I'm technophobe, but you can find me on Facebook abusing people usually, or being quite nice in some cases. But yeah, Facebook's the best place to find me, or Twitter to find my brother. He's always on there. He lives on Twitter, my brother.
So that's where we can catch you at.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I mean, if that wasn't interesting, I don't know what was.
Yeah.
So if you want to find out more about him, check out his Facebook, check out his Twitter, and keep it locked.
Yo, I'm Chester P. Hackenbush from the legendary Task Force crew. And right now, you are watching HFM, massive, mahoosive, the biggest.